Hello mga katribu and welcome to another episode of PairFect. I'm Francine Marquez. Our guest for today is someone from a premier leasable space that we are all familiar with. They have witnessed and held countless local and international meetings, conventions, exhibitions, social and corporate events. And if you're in the professional field, I'm sure you've been in one of their convention centers and hotels. They are known to have modern facilities and amenities that make participating in events fun and worry-free. Let's learn all about them and their operations from the Senior Vice President of Operations of SM Hotels and Conventions Corporation, Mr. Walid Wafik. Welcome to PairFect, Walid. How are you today?
Very good, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to join you. It's my pleasure.
Yes, and I'll have to ask the first question already. Let's cut to the chase and get to know more about SMX Convention
Yes,
Centers.
please.
Back in 2015, you were promoted to Vice President and General Manager of SMX Convention Center. How
That's
did you
correct.
react to this? Were you ready at the time to take on a big role?
Yes, I was before taking the role of SMS. I was area general manager, and I was handling two properties, Tao Vista and Pico de Loro. And then
Mm.
I got the opportunity with SM Hotels to be moved to SMX, which I found it's how do you call it? It was a learning curve for me to be in the
Mm.
convention center business, and I truly enjoyed the convention centers and running convention centers. And at that time, we only had six convention centers,
Mm.
and now we're running seven of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have our new baby opening in May 24th, which is the SMX in Clark.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Clark is really getting to be a happening city, right?
Yes, oh yes. We always look at Clark that there is a good future for
Mm-hmm.
the tourism industry in Clark and for the hotel business. And besides having or building the SMX in Clark, we have already also opened an extension for our park in Clark, adding another
Right.
100 rooms. Yes, yes,
Wow, that's good to know. That's
yeah,
good to know. Of course, everything is accessible in that hotel and in the convention center because
yes.
there's also an SM mall right
Of
beside it.
course, of course, of course, of course.
Yeah.
We love the formula of the mall, hotel, and convention center. Really, it completes everything.
Yes, and I think it's also a glimpse of things to come in terms of the space, maybe the town or province where the SMX Convention Center is located.
Yes, 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 it is. We have two types of SMXs. We have the standalone SMX, which is like
Mm-mm.
the one in Mall of Asia, which I'm
Mm.
sure everybody and the viewers
Yes.
are familiar with. And we have the other SMXs, which are situated inside the mall, like SMX in Aura. There is Mega Trade Hall in Mega Mall. We have SMX in Bacolod. We have SMX in Davao. So these properties are based inside the mall. And we opened SMX in Olongapo also, which is situated inside the mall. And just for the viewers, we're also prepping up to open an SMX in Santa Rosa.
Wow,
That is,
Laguna.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
This
yeah.
this is scheduled for end of 2023 or beginning of 2024.
Wow. So it's really full steam ahead for SMX
Yes,
Convention Center, right?
yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, no stopping. And we're
No,
glad it's also part of the developments that we are raring to see as well.
yes, yes, yes.
And Walid, earlier I was asking you what brought you to the Philippines, and I realized that you're very much been here for many years already as
Yeah.
hotelier in several properties. Tell us more about it.
I first came to the Philippines, and I was with one of the hotel companies in Cebu, Mactan. And
Mm.
after that, I decided to join SM Hotels, which have been with them for 10 years now. And the total in the Philippines is 12 years. And I truly feel that this is my home.
Oh, wow. And I would like to ask, how different and similar are your experiences? I mean, in terms of working with a Filipino team and working in the Philippines, putting up, maybe being at the helm of various events, MICE activities. How was it like for you?
It's 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 really good because what makes the Philippines special is it's the people actually. It's not the hardware of the country. No, it's the people, and
Mm,
with working with the people and the smiles and how hospitable they are and how welcoming they are, and having my teams and really I truly enjoy working here and living here at the same time. It's all about the people, nothing
mm-mm,
else.
mm-mm. Yes, and now that SMX Clark is opening soon, this month in fact, how are the preparations? It was supposed to open back in 2020, we understand, but then the
Yes.
pandemic happened. What happened in between?
In the during the pandemic, of course, there were because we rely on construction materials and things coming from abroad and fittings and things. So things were delayed. So we had to also delay. Beside the fact that we were faced with a few lockdowns, so construction workers were not allowed to report to
Mm,
constructions and to projects.
mm-mm,
So that caused a delay. Once we were on a suitable level and once we got the appropriate confirmations from the LGU, we
mm-mm.
immediately went back to the floor and started again with the project, which I'm proud to say we are 99% done,
Mm.
and it's really going to be one nice standalone property.
Yeah, can you tell us more about the features, like how big is the area and what can we
This
expect from it?
Yeah. This SMX in Clark, it's our first SMX. It's the second SMX in the north, but it's also our second standalone
Mm-mm.
after the Mall of Asia property. Now the property has three trade halls on the ground floor, and it has three function rooms on the upper floor
Okay.
with an additional 14 meeting rooms to accommodate small meetings and
Wow.
gatherings.
Wow.
My total leasable area is about 4,000 plus square meters,
Oh.
and that is good enough to accommodate up to about 3,500 people
Mm-mm.
at any given time.
Wow, that's quite a lot. Well, SMX Clark is of course very near the airport. So are you expecting like a regional clients to come in as well? And maybe it's a gateway to the rest
Yes,
of the world.
of course. Now, talking about the international aspect of convention centers, there are two aspects. It's either we have an event that is staged from another country, like an event from Singapore, an event from Thailand, event from Malaysia. These are our international events that take place within the Philippines. The other big involvement there is that we have, I mean, 95% of our events are are Philippine staged, meaning
Mm.
we rely 95% on the local event organizers and the local events.
Mm-mm.
But some of these events have foreign exhibitors, meaning okay, let's take an example. Phil Construct, for example, it's the largest construction event happening in the Philippines, and it happens once in Manila, once in Clark, once in Cebu, and once in Davao every year. So there are exhibitors that come in from neighboring countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, China, Thailand to showcase their products and exhibit their products. So going back to your comment, yes, definitely being close to the airport does help us, and of course having the hotel connected to the Park Inn in Clark also helps us a lot.
Mhm. So that should be something to look forward to, no? As the world is starting to reopen and connect with each other.
Yes, yes. I mean, we see a good surge in travelers at the moment to hotels. And the reason why SMX is a bit delayed and a bit behind is because we know that to stage an event, it takes a good 6 to 9 months to prep up.
Mm-mm.
That's why SMX has not bounced fully yet.
Mm.
But we are now getting back up, meaning that we are starting with the small events. We're starting with some retail events that are taking place. We're starting with some cosplay events.
Whoa.
So it is moving towards the right direction, I would say.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And I would like to ask also, is there a particular reason why you decided to open this month, May 24, 2022? Or is it because it's already 99% ready?
Well, number one, the project is ready.
Mm-mm.
The product itself, as in SMX Clark, is getting ready. Number two, the demand is starting to show for that property. So that was our second how do we call it, contributor to the decision.
Mm-mm.
Number three is Phil Construct wanted to have their event with us
Oh.
starting. They're starting on June 5
Mm.
to Ingress, and they wanted to be the first event to use the whole entire building. So there's a multiple factors onto why we have decided and why we are pushing for May 24. Besides Phil Construct, we have been also approached with several small to medium-sized meetings and gatherings, and this also really eager to come in and start in SMX Clark. So
Mm.
it's a combination of factors that helped us decide.
Mm-mm. You know what makes this even more exciting is the fact that we used to be Manila centric in terms of the biggest conventions and exhibitions, but this time it just seemed to open up. Maybe it's because of the pandemic, I don't know why, but suddenly people can actually use as well the SMX Clark Convention Center.
Yes, yes, I totally agree with you. Years back, Manila was the center for conventions, for uh, big musical events, big things happening, and then the people used to fly in from Cebu, from Davao, from this to attend such events. Now the demand is changing
Mm-mm.
because of the request and because of the different exposures. So now we have clients that are requesting to have events in Clark. We have
Mm-mm.
clients requesting to have events in Cebu. And
Mm-mm.
that is why also for me, I need to mention about our project in Cebu, next to the Seaside Mall, which we are
Mm-hmm.
building a large SMX
Wow.
and an arena and also two hotels. This will be a definitely positive addition to Cebu market, where Now we can stage big events in Cebu. We can have the basketball games. We can have
Yes.
concerts in Cebu.
Mm-mm.
So it's like you said, it's the outside NCR is starting to grow.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I guess that's on the upside of developments in terms of the industry.
Of course.
Yes.
Of
Yeah, so we're just starting to warm up about the world opening up, and also with the way SMX Convention Center is now starting to connect with various industries and various exhibitions as well. A lot of things to offer from the Philippines. But before we continue, Walid, let's take a short break first. Stay with us, Katribus.
you. Thank you.
Mga katribu, tara na't makiisa at matuto sa mga public service programs hatid ng Kalingang Katribu. Tuwing Lunes, nandyan ang usapang business na magbibigay tips at inspirasyon sa mga aspiring entrepreneurs kasama si Vernon Velasco. Tuwing Miyerkules, usapang pangkulusugan naman ang tatalakayin ni Miss Cory Quirino sa Health and Wellness. At tuwing Biyernes naman, kung legal advice ang kailangan mo, sagot ka na ng Legal Diaries kasama si Elmer Navarro Manuel at mga guest lawyers. Lahat ng niya mapapanood tuwing alas 3:30 ng hapon sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
Welcome back to PairFect. Still with us is the Senior VP of Operations of SM Hotels and Conventions Group, Mr. Walid Wafik. Hello, welcome back.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
You had a short coffee break, I see.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's talk about the new, well, it's not new, but it's been the buzz phrase, especially during the pandemic. And it's about, I think a lot of developers are looking towards green buildings, talking about sustainability, maybe as part of our learnings and experience with the pandemic. And I know that SM is also an advocate of sustainability. Can you tell us more? How does this translate with the SMX Convention Hotels and Conventions Center?
Well, with as you mentioned, with SM, we want to take a front row when it comes to sustainability and having green hotels, having green convention centers, looking after the environment and being an advocate in that field. Now, we'll talk, for example, about hotels. We have the Conrad in the Conrad Manila in Mall of Asia complex. That's a LEEDs certified building, meaning it really falls under all it complies with all the criteria that are needed with such certification board as LEEDs. Now, if I look at SMX as convention centers, the buildings totally align with the green building. Let's look at our glass facade to project natural light inside. and to
Yes.
save on electricity.
Mm.
And also all our mechanicals, all our support in the buildings are also environmental free, and we
Mm-mm.
do our annual and biannual tests
Mm-mm.
to make sure that we are on the right track.
Mm-mm.
Now, this is one thing when it comes to the design and construction phase, we look at these areas to make sure the building is sufficient. There is another aspect to it, which is the operation side
Mm.
of these SMXs. We know that if I have a dinner for 9,000 people and it is buffet, you can imagine the food wastage that comes
Mm.
out of such events, and it's really how do you call it? We cannot just let something like that go. So all these wastages go into uh, uh, into composite that for gardens, for trees, for this, and we weigh it by kilo
Mm-mm.
after every event so that we know what is our participation, and we have data to back up all these activities that we are doing. I'm happy to say also SM, when we look at the mold moving towards solar panels, you will see it on top of a lot of SM molds, which
Mm.
is
Mm-mm.
a direction for us to save on the environment. So there are a lot of activities that we do.
Mm-mm. And I guess this initiative, this green initiative, didn't just happen during the pandemic because, like for example, Conrad Manila has been built way before the pandemic happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's always been part of the vision, so to
Oh
speak,
yes,
of SM.
no, the pandemic has
Yes.
nothing to do with this. These practices that we are doing in SMX, it's way before the pandemic.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
No, not because of the pandemic at all.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And maybe people are just more aware of the green initiatives because I think it was just magnified during the pandemic
Yeah,
when
yeah.
people are thinking of wellness and all.
Yeah, we all learned a lot from the pandemic. Let's be realistic. I mean, the pandemic came, yeah, it had its negative effects, but at the same time, the new norm that the pandemic has left has fixed a lot of things and
Mm.
had taught us a lot of lessons on how to deal with our daily works. Like now, this Teams or this Zoom meeting, this is the creation of the pandemic, correct? And these
Yes.
practices will continue on because we find it more practical now and we got used to it. And
Mm-mm.
other things as well will continue with us. So it's like it's a 50-50. We were affected economically and financially, but we came out with some out of the box new ideas that we never thought of before.
Mm-mm.
Uh, and then now with SMX,
Mm-mm.
with this new norm, of
Mm-mm.
course, during the pandemic, there was all these hybrid events and all these
Yes.
virtual events and all that. So, so one of the ideas that we implemented is,
Mm-mm.
why don't we implement this? So let's say if company ABC is having an event in SMX,
Mm-mm.
they can also do a hybrid side of it where people in another locations
Yes.
of the country or another parts of the world can also join and enjoy the event as well virtually. So
Mm-mm.
we have signed with a third party,
Mm.
and they provide this service for us. So
I
this is
see.
also another practice that we learned from the pandemic and from the tough times we had, that there is another side of events. It doesn't have to be face to face. It
Mm-mm.
can be all virtual. You're
Mm-mm.
sitting in your home or with your laptop or with your iPad, and you are attending an event.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So I guess SMX has really deep dived into its own digital transformation.
Oh, yes, because we have to, how do you call it? We have to continue providing the best and the latest in order to be competitive and in
Mm-mm,
order to compete in such a fast growing segment.
mm-mm, mm-mm. And who knew that maybe when people talk about conventions, it's more really of people meeting face to face. But now, in the new normal, it's also hybrid,
Yes, hybrid
even in the
and
sector.
virtual.
Yes.
Yes, 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 and it's very interesting, and it takes a lot of work. By the way, it's not
Mm-mm.
just having an event on an app or somebody just joining an app.
Yes.
The background of this is such a big job,
Mm-mm,
so
mm-mm,
it's pretty interesting.
mm. Uh, is that speaking of all these interesting things happening? What do you find most challenging about working in this industry at the moment, in the new normal?
Um, well, I wouldn't say challenging. I wouldn't use the word challenging.
Okay.
We all know that health protocols will
Mm,
continue with us for a bit. So we have to do it, whether we
yes.
like it or not. We have to do it, like temperature taking, like
Mm-mm-mm.
mask wearing, or the wearing of masks, the social distancing. All these things will live with us for a while. So we have to do it. Um,
Yeah.
I really wish that one day we just wake up soon and this whole thing is gone and we go back to our normal life, practicing the lessons that we learned from the pandemic.
Yes, and yeah, I will agree with you because imagine this, you were talking about thousands of people probably attending an event, like a 3-day event for that matter, no? From
Yes,
different parts of the world, different environments.
yes. It's a very interesting industry, and I am so glad that I am part of SMX and being part of that section of our business.
Mm-mm. How do you maintain strong connections with your suppliers and clients despite going through what we're going through right now?
Well, there are different. We have event organizers, we have suppliers that we work with, because to stage an event, it's not just SMX or it's not just the event organizer. No,
Mm-mm,
there's a
mm-mm,
lot of people involved in such staging of an event, and during the pandemic, we continued our continuous interaction with all these different um, um, suppliers and event organizers and all that, to check how are they doing, what is their
mm-mm,
vision, when
mm-mm,
do they think they can come back, how can they stage an event, how
mm-mm,
can we work together when we finally get the go ahead to open, and how can they start staging an event based on the new norm. Let's not forget that we had different levels, that we were only able to operate at 30%, then 50%, and then 70%. So every percentage point counts for the event organizer, because this is all, of course, it's all revenues for them.
mm-mm.
So we were in contact, and we were continuously discussing among ourselves how will the industry bounce back.
Mm-mm. That's true because I think events is one of the vulnerable communities that
Oh yes.
had
Oh yeah.
to
Oh yeah.
probably stop during the lockdowns.
Yeah, because of the foot traffic, because of the
Yes.
thousands of people that attend, and let's not forget one thing: we have to assure the public, and we have to assure the guests and the attendees that it's a safe place for them to come and participate in an event, or visit an exhibit. We
Mm-mm.
have to assure them that they are safe, and this
Mm-mm.
also we have worked on, and we have made it very public, and we built a lot of awareness on that area.
And I guess, so to speak, we can also say that events, convention are also essentials for the economy.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. For the economy, definitely, and also for different companies, if they're looking at expanding, if they're looking at new products, new ideas, new ways. Construction is one, and let's not forget the association. So every year we have the different associations that hold their annual events with us,
Yes.
and we are talking about thousands and thousands of participants, from electrical engineers to civil engineers to mechanical engineers to the doctors, the school of physicians. My God, there's a lot of different businesses that will bounce back.
Well, Walid, in one of the articles, you said that you prefer to work hands-on alongside your team. But usually, people of your stature would be in the,
Office?
well, yes, in the office, so to speak. But why does it seem that we see you everywhere during these conventions? You seem
Yes,
to be unstoppable, checking everything, making sure everything is perfect at SMX.
well, it's not. I do trust my teams a lot, whether it's in hotels or convention centers. Actually, I prefer to be on the floor, just to look at challenging situations and seeing how we can work better, how we can improve, what can we learn from such critical situations. Like, we have thousands of people in the building, right? I have to be around. I have to look and make sure that the building is safe and the foot traffic is safe.
Mm,
Um, God forbid, uh, we do our best to avoid anything that will
mm-mm,
bring any
mm-mm,
harm to anybody that is inside our properties, whether it's a hotel, whether it's an SMX, whether it's an SM mall. We really look at the safety and security of people. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm always on the floor.
wow, and that's good to know and so assuring for probably the organizers, the big associations as well. And now, Walid, how do you see the future of SMX? Do you see it as, I think, pivotal to the Philippines as the center of the universe when it comes to future MICE activities? What do you think? Because right now, with all over the world, people, there are big events happening already, like recently Dubai. And then, what about the Philippines? What do you think of the future?
The future, I mean, the convention segment or the MICE segment in the Philippines is very strong.
Mm,
Now, along with the other players in the market, I don't like to call them competition, because we were never competing, but we also work together. So along with the other players, we always did our best to
mm,
bring these international events into Manila.
mm,
And you know how it is, Southeast Asia. You will have events going around Southeast Asia, like
mm.
they will do Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, Hong Kong,
Yes.
and then it moves around in circle. So our main target is to include Manila within this circle of international events,
Mm-mm.
and bring these events to the Filipino people so that they can also enjoy and attend. So
Mm-mm.
this is the future. This is what we are looking at.
Mm-mm.
And this is one of the reasons why we are investing as a company to build more convention centers in different locations. And the size depends on our future projection for that location.
Mhm. Wow. So the future is really looking bright,
It it
especially
is.
for
It
the
is
industry, huh?
very good for the industry, and hoping, crossing my fingers, that nothing like COVID strikes again, and really surprises us again. So we are looking at a good future. Yes.
Yes. And We want to know more about you this time, but before we let you go, we'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll play a quick game to get to know you more on a personal
Thank
level.
you.
PairFect
My
will be back,
Thank
and
you.
so will Walid.
Mapalutong mga impormasyong direktang makukuha mula sa sources at diretsahang usapan. Yan ang ating daming sa inyo sa programang Straight Talk. Samahan nyo kami sa makabuluhang talakayan live tuwing Martes alas 10 ng umaga sa official Facebook page ng Daily Tribune at Tribune Now on YouTube. Alamin ang latest entertainment at sa mga paborito nyong celebrities kasama si Pocholo Concepcion sa programang WhatsApp. Makibanding at kwentuhan kasama ang mga kilalang personalidad sa entertainment industry. Sama-sama natin silang kilalanin at silipin ang makulay nilang mundo every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Kaya sit back and relax lang kayo mga katribu. Hanapin at ilike ang Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Dahil sagot na namin ang masayang kwentuhan dito lang sa WhatsApp. Mapalutong bahay man o sumptuous meal for special occasions, sagot na kayo ng tropang Kalanpag. Dahil atid sa inyo ng Daily Tribune ang fun and exciting cooking show na Kalanpag, manood at matuto kung paano lutuin ang mga favorite nyong recipes. Sabayan pa ng fun and inspiring na kwentuhan sa kusina. I-upgrade na rin natin ang mga nakasanayang traditional dish ng pamilya. Plus, healthy tipid tips na ibabahagi ng tropang Kalanpag. Matuto, mabusog at good vibes dito lang sa Kalanpag tuwing Lunes, 10:30 a.m. sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Non-stop showbiz update ba ang hanap nyo? Sagot na yan ang aming Tribune Extra. Balitang entertainment at lifestyle, mapa-local man o international, meron kami niyan. Manood at makichika na kasama si Kim Sancha Lunes hanggang Biyernes alas 5 ng hapon sa Tribune News on Q at separate premiere nito ng alas 7:30 ng gabi. Mapapanood sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
Let's get to know him better. Hi, Walid.
Hello everybody.
Yes. Now we'll play a game called Fast Talk where we ask you questions and you have to answer quickly. Ready? First question. First thing you do when you wake up?
Coffee.
Okay. Last thing you do before going to bed?
Last thing I do before going to bed is I usually sit and just go through my day, organize my mind on what I did that day and what I'm planning to do the following day.
Wow, like a true leader. Very organized and disciplined. Your go-to activity when you want to distress?
It's all cars. It's all about cars.
Oh,
I love cars and I love restoring cars and I like to do things. So that's my biggest hobby.
Wow, that's another interview waiting for us. And a country that you can consider as home. Let me guess. Okay.
Philippines.
Philippines, yes. Memorable event that you managed?
I managed a BPO event, and this was the largest ever that I ever handled, and it was 14,000 participants for dinner, buffet dinner. So this will never, this will always be in my mind. Now, the second most important one that I managed was the ASEAN event with President Trump and the ASEAN leaders. So when they had their welcome dinner in SMX.
Wow, and I know that was pulled off perfectly by SMX.
Yes. Yes, very proud of the team.
But imagine the number of team members that you have to guide and all the people that need to be probably hosted and taken care of. Wow, massive.
Yes.
Massive. You have to be an engineer of people, Walid, I suppose.
Well, it's always about relationships and leadership. So you have to treat every individual separately, and you have to be on their level in order for them to accept you and follow your leadership.
And what's one thing you personally must have when you're supervising events? Maybe a gadget or a thing, a prop or whatever?
Um, actually, no. I don't use anything. It's just being on the floor,
Mm,
um, looking at processes, looking at people, and making sure the guests are safe. The flow of people is moving and good,
mm-mm, mm-mm.
and things like that. But I don't usually use anything. No.
Like a communicate, like maybe, I don't know. What do you
No,
use to communicate?
of course we have our mobile communications
Yes.
together, and if there is anything, it is posted on these groups, and we
Mm,
attend to it right away. Now, if there
mm-mm.
is a sort of emergency, then it comes through walkie-talkies, and we can all address the emergency right away.
Wow, so really, communication is key when
Of
you're
course.
holding events for thousands of people.
Yes, when you have this number or these thousands of people, communication is essential, because if we are a minute late, this can mean something big.
Yeah, but this is a question outside of our game. And how do you stay cool?
How do I stay?
Cool and
Oh, no,
relaxed. I heard you're calm as a
I
cucumber or cool
know
as a
that
cucumber when
the secret is love what you do. Just love what you do.
okay.
That's the
Now,
secret.
yeah, I can imagine. Oh, that. Oh my. I can't even imagine what you do, how you do it. But there you go. 3 words to describe SMX Convention Centers.
3 words:
Yes, to describe SMX Convention Centers.
exceptional, uh, um, excel, and the top service provider in conventions.
Yes, wow. Now, 3 words to describe Walid Wafik.
Um, Patient, um, adapting, and still learning.
Oh. And finally, a philosophy or mantra that you live by.
Um, the number one, when I'm working, the number one philosophy that I live by is, I want to treat the people the way I wanted to be treated.
Mm.
And that makes a whole big difference, because in one stage of my life I was a staff also, and I can tell when you're treated badly or you're treated good. How does it reflect on your job?
Mhm. Well, thank you, Walid. Thank you for those golden nuggets of wisdom. I really learned
Thank
a lot
you.
today,
Thank you.
and I'm sure also our viewers. Thank you for joining us today, and
Thank you
thank you
so
for
much.
giving us more awareness about SMX convention centers. But before we go, can you give us some parting shots? What else to expect from SMX? And
Um,
inviting them, probably.
I would like, of course, I would like to invite our viewers to at least take part of our social media pages
Mm.
in all my SMXs, whether it's Bacolod, Davao, Olongapo, and Manila, and all this. Always look for what's happening. Please do come and attend events, and check it out for yourselves, and be part of it. Really be part of it. Don't
Mm.
just wait for the events you like. We have so many other interesting events
Mm.
for you that you can come and enjoy.
Mhm. And of course, with the forthcoming SMX Clark with Field Construct, I would go there. It would be
Please,
nice to get out of Manila for a change.
please, my pleasure to welcome you there, and to welcome all the viewers there.
Okay, and thank you, Walid. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, my
This
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to all the viewers for spending time with us. Thank you.
and thank you mga katribu for tuning in. You can watch PairFect live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and on Tribune Now on YouTube. I'm Francine, and this has been PairFect.